This press conference is just mostly about voting rights. So I'm just going to get started in my speech and then take questions afterwards. Just as inequality feeds on injustice, opportunity requires justice, and justice requires the right to vote. It's a quote from Lyndon B. Johnson, president, on the Voting Rights Act. I think it's very apt. There's currently, as we speak right now, rioting happening in Minneapolis. Why? Because of an injustice that has been plied and forced on the people to take for far too long. When I was young, and even when I was just a little bit older, I was told that I had anger issues. A little story for you. A temper. I would just explode at the tiniest of things. Then I would be this whirlwind of fists, arms, legs, and angry tears. When all was said and done, I was corrected. Then everything went back to normal, but I was still angry. As I grew up, I learned that I needed to figure out what the problem was. Why was I so angry? I realized I was angry because I didn't have a voice. I was the baby, a girl, skinny, pretty, and quiet. Yes, believe it or not, I was quiet. So I was often taken advantage of by siblings, family, friends, strangers. I didn't know how to react or what to say. It just kept building up. And it just kept on building up because I didn't have a voice. Finally, something would cause me to break. The proverbial straw. The dam would burst open. Then all of this pent up hurt feelings and frustration would come flooding out onto whomever or whatever represented that last straw. Then the dust would settle. I would be corrected. Then everything went back to normal until this, I tell you, because little Teresa represents America now. They keep taking our voice away, stifling it, suppressing, choking it out with their knees of fear, ignorance, and greed. What does this have to do with voting rights? Everything. If we keep going down this path of ignoring the people's anger at injustice, America will look exactly like Minneapolis. Make sure, please, everyone knows their rights to vote absentee or in person. Don't make last-minute changes like last year to polling stations, machines, books, or anything, because the camel's back is heavy with straw, and one more straw, it will break. Okie dokie. So I'm going to switch views. If anyone has any questions here on Zoom, you can ask me a question. If anyone has any questions on Facebook, I'll give it a couple of seconds because Facebook is lagging behind a few seconds. Please post your questions in the chat box. We're only going to be here for a short time. I just wanted to speak briefly about hold up a second, let me see if I can unmute everyone. You can probably just speak if you want to, or put your question in the chat. That is me. Okay, so last year, and I'll just clarify some things before I go to questions. Last year, when I ran for mayor and almost won by just a margin of a little over 100 votes, we had a last minute change at a polling place over in Yates Village here in Schenectady. For those of you who don't know, Yates Village is actually a housing complex for lower income families. And their voting place was in their community center that's located right inside the complex. It was moved last minute to up a very steep hill and down the street a little bit to a park, which in my eyes was not really accessible, especially to our elderly voters. Getting up that hill, walking up that hill, just coming out of their house to go to the polling place is a struggle enough. So being able to get up that hill was, you know, a struggle. I had asked the local transportation authority to offer a trolley and was told that that was self-serving. So I tried to help the people get to the polling places at that time, and it didn't. Oh, well, I was told that I was being self-serving. I disagree. I think I was just trying to offer an alternative to walking up a steep hill. But it is what it is, and that happened, and here we are today. Speaking about absentee voting and voting in person, and being able to do that without hindrance. As I said before with the quote, justice means being able to vote. That means being able to have a voice. And people are right now at the tip of, or the end of their patience. And if the Board of Elections tries to do something else, and this is New York State Board of Elections, to that looks like voter suppression, this is a warning. The people will be up in arms. They're already up in arms. And I plead you not to do that, not to suppress the vote and not to force people not to have a voice, force people out of their voice. Because they will be that little Teresa. I am looking on Facebook and seeing, still a little behind. There's no questions from anyone in the audience here. Hold up a second, let me go to the chat. All right, no. Okay, so if there are no more questions, I have another engagement I have to be to, and just one more time, hold up a second. Let me see if I can go to, hold on a second, because I'm realizing that I cannot see the other live. Whoop, 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 whoop. Here. Is this live here? Let me see. Okay, I don't see any questions here. And I do apologize, it is lagging a bit. So, oh, there is a question. Hold on a second. It's just about the end. What anti-racism initiatives do you have planned locally? What anti-racism initiatives do you have planned locally? So mostly what I have been doing is working with our youth to educate them on what has been done in the past, what we can do now in the present, and how we can secure our future. I do that almost every day through children and friends, going out to the community, obviously not as much as I used to, and just saying what needs to be said. There's so much we can do right now during this pandemic, but also joining like Zoom conference calls on like locally in Schenectady. We have issues with the rearranging of certain positions that were put there to ensure equity in our education for our students. And because of budget reasons, some positions that are very essential and vital to our student success are being done away with or reorganized, whatever language they want to use. And I don't agree with it, but I am working with some of the people who are closely affected with that to make sure that they do indeed stay employed and that they stay that beacon of light and hope for our students, especially when it comes to inequities and injustices in our education system. And as always, Jeff, I know you know me, I am always that voice. I'm always that voice for those who have not had the opportunity to be their own voice or who have been oppressed and suppressed, obviously from experience. I know what that feels like, and I know how enraging it can be. And that's what we're seeing right now in the national stage in Minneapolis. So just supporting some of the things that are happening locally and helping to build new initiatives. That's what I'm doing. Let's see, anyone else? Let me see. Okay, I had some people go to the Facebook Live from the Zoom. There's one in the chat. Hold up. Do you have a question? I do have a question. Who said that? Okay, anyone else? Because I can't, everything's lagged on mine. So if you're asking a question. Okay, no other questions. All right, understand that you do have a choice this year to vote by absentee ballot. If you're not sure how that process works, please feel free to connect with me at teresaforsenate@gmail.com, teresaforsenate@gmail.com. You can also call me 518-387-9871, 518-387-9871. Please leave a message and I will get back to you as soon as possible. But I think the fastest way is to email me at teresaforsenate@gmail.com, teresaforsenate@gmail.com. You can find that on my Facebook page, on my Twitter, on the Instagram account, and also at teresaforsenate.com. So teresaforsenate@gmail.com. You can connect with me and ask me any questions about absentee ballots, how you can do it, when you can do it. We'll have the dates up when your absentee ballots are due in, whether or not you can vote in person, which you can. Today is the last day to register to vote and be able to vote in the June primaries. So please make sure that if you're not registered to vote, if not now, I should say now more than ever. And I know every year we say this year you're voting for your life. We are voting for our lives this year. This statement is 1,000 million% more true than it has ever been. And if you have not been paying attention to the world stage or even here in America, you need to open your eyes and see we are voting for our lives. So register to vote and vote how your heart speaks to you. Okay, and as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and what?
Drink tea.
Drink tea.